guys, and welcome to another video. This is part 3 in what I am calling my Undecember intervention series. Now, I want to make it clear, as always in this video, that I am not making these videos to put down the game. I'm making these videos to hopefully get the attention of the devs because you have such a great game and you're doing certain things that are making players leave, that are making players not want to try it in the first place. And if they would just listen a little bit, some of those problems would get fixed, and I guarantee the player base would go up. The two big ones we're going to be talking about today are persistent bugs and lack of community support. Okay, so let's get into it. Topic number one we want to talk about here is persistent bugs. Now, every game has bugs. Some bugs are small and innocuous, others are game breaking, and this game doesn't have a ton of game breaking ones, but it does have a lot that have not been addressed, even though the community has been bringing them up in some cases for the entire duration of this game. I'm going to talk about a few. Now, this isn't necessarily trying to make a list of the persistent bugs. I'm just trying to, again, get the attention of the devs because these are the kinds of bugs that make players leave. If a player knows that you don't care about the gameplay experience itself, even if the rest of the game is good, some of these things are very detrimental to the survivability of the game. So the first one I want to talk about is the portal bug. Now, this has been around forever. I'm not sure when it really became super noticeable, but at some point we realized as a player base that every time we go through a portal of any sort, it has a chance to shut stuff off. Sometimes it's your zodiac, sometimes it's your link runes, sometimes it's your avatar. But whatever this issue is, I understand it might be hard to track this down, but this is a massive game-breaking bug that has at least never been acknowledged by the devs. As someone who has worked as a game tester, I understand that you need 100% replicatable bugs to really address them. And if the devs acknowledged that there was something wrong, I guarantee players like myself and others would try to narrow down the cause of these bugs. But because we know from past experience with the dev that some bugs, even though we have shown what is wrong 100%, so in the case of the two-handed weapons versus the Warrior Shadow, is a bug that has existed since Warrior Shadow started and has never been addressed by the devs. Even when people have sent in videos and things of testing and showing that there is an issue, they have not bothered to acknowledge that it exists. Now, again, not all the persistent bugs are like huge problems. A couple of them, really, let's talk about some small ones. One where every once in a while when you leave the game, when you log back in, it will say you've been disconnected due to inactivity. Now, while annoying, you just log back in. It's not an issue. It's not a problem, but it is annoying that it has not been addressed. I am sure that this has to do with how the game handles mobile use. I know when I play a lot of mobile games, if you leave the window, your character stays logged in, and I'm sure it's still doing the same thing on the PC version. And that's where that bug is coming from. But it is a small bug that has never been addressed. Another one that has never been addressed is the raid timer. Occasionally, when the two raid windows open every day, your timer will be off. So if I set up a group to start a raid at what is now 7 p.m. for my second raid window, it'll say I still have 10 minutes until the actual raid window before I can start the thing. This is a persistent bug that has never been addressed, even though I have definitely brought it to the attention of the devs. They'd say, oh, that was just a one-time thing. Brushing off even small bugs and saying, oh, that's just a one-time thing is really a bad look for a developer. Now, again, I don't want to talk about every single major bug or issue, but those are some of them. Now, the other ones I do want to talk about directly are obviously cheating. There is rampant cheating in some different ways. I'm not going to talk about them in the video because I don't want to give people a way to go and do those cheats. But there are definitely other people that are out there saying directly and letting the devs know what the bugs are that are being exploited, and they're not being addressed. They're not being fixed. One that got fixed in the most recent patch was something I didn't even know was a thing, and it was somehow that skill root effect was affecting energy or something. I don't even honestly know what it was, but that was the thing they chose to fix rather than some of the other ones. One of the other ones that I want to talk about is not something that affects me directly because I don't use the auction house, but somehow players are selling things for less than the minimum value. Now, I don't know if they're using a program to do it. I don't know if it's something else. And even though I don't think it's this, someone has talked about that that's the devs themselves trying to put the prices lower so that people will buy this stuff from them so that they can take rubies out of the market. Now, I'm not a conspiracy guy. I definitely don't think that's the case, but there's something with the auction house that needs to be addressed. Okay, now that was just some of the stuff. I could sit down and build a comprehensive list. I have done things like this in the past for this game, but they've never been addressed. The point of this video is not to point out all the bugs that are currently happening. It's to try and get the devs' attention so that they can start communicating better with the players and we can end up with a better game overall. Okay, that's enough of that topic. We're going to move on to community support. I'm going to start this section by telling a very brief story about how in certain Asian cultures, I'm not sure if Koreans are like this, I know Japan is frequently like this, that you don't disagree with your boss. And even if the boss is telling the worst possible thing, he is the commander. There's a strict chain of command and you don't disagree with him. And because of that, certain Asian, again, I say Asian, but I'm Japanese because this is where the story is from. Certain companies will have a loud American. Now, I'm Canadian, but I would love to be the loud American. The job of the loud American is to disagree with things that are bad on behalf of other people. The community is a living organism. The community thrives on the game, and the more popular the game is, the more they are likely to do things like create content, make a wiki, create programs to assist new players or whatnot. And I really feel like you guys need a loud Canadian, someone who can, on behalf of the community, get information that the community is desperate for so that we can build a stronger community. If you look at games like Path of Exile, all of the tools, all of the stuff, all of the build guides, everything, the web pages that they've set up are all created by the community with support from the dev. I love this game so much, and I would love to create a proper website with build guides, both in text and video form, because I know people like both. But that is not something I am going to do on my own for a game where the devs don't seem to care if the players are a positive, happy community. I'm not saying that they are doing it on purpose. They maybe just don't directly know if that's a thing, but this is something that needs to be addressed. You need someone on behalf of the player base in different countries, in different areas, because different parts of the world care about different things. And I've talked about it before in this series that North Americans hate with a passion gacha style stuff. And if your game is even noticeably gacha heavy, you are going to lose a huge chunk of that market. Now, that means obviously that if you just got rid of all of it, you would lose money. There are other ways to make money on this kind of game and still make the community happy. I'm not saying get rid of all gacha, even though I would like that, but there's other ways that this game could make income without sticking it to the player in forms of gacha. I will keep making these videos, and I'm going to try to address slightly different stuff every time, but when it comes right down to it, I really want the devs to communicate with the player base. I'm going to keep bringing up that you did a Q&A session with some Korean streamers, but you need to do it with other languages, other countries, because it seems like you don't care what happens on the North American market. And as someone who plays on the North American market, there are no other games that quite fit this niche for me, and that's why I keep creating content for it. Okay, that's enough for this video. I am going to be working, obviously, on a bunch of other stuff. My Quiver build will be out tomorrow. My chest build is going to be out soon. I'm going to be doing a full, super comprehensive video on what to do when you are done the story, and then some other stuff that I'm going to be working on before the end of the season. The last thing I am going to talk about super quick for the people that don't know about it because it's hidden. There is a special Black Friday item. It's a step-up package. The first 2 steps are a free thing, and the second one is 100 gold. It's not necessarily listed anywhere, but those are in there, and they've got some good stuff in them, so make sure you get them. Okay, with all that said, thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope we can strengthen our voices and the devs will hear us. But for now, stay safe, pet cats, eat broccoli, and you'll see me next time.